You want to win, don't you? Not just survive, not just coast win. But here's the truth. Nobody's telling you. Most people say they want to win, but they're addicted to losing. They're addicted to comfort, to excuses, to blaming the world for why they haven't risen. Winning, it's an art form. And like all forms of art, it requires precision, control, brutal honesty, and relentless practice. But ask yourself, when was the last time you trained for it? I'm not talking about pretending to be motivated. I'm not talking about posting quotes or getting hyped for 10 minutes and then falling back into the same old pattern. I'm talking about that internal wiring that separates people who talk from people who conquer. This isn't about being born a winner. That's a lie. The weak tell themselves to avoid doing the work. You learn how to win. You become a winner. And let me be clear, winning isn't luck. It's not handed to you. It's not about your background, your resources, or your connections. It's about who you decide to become when nobody is clapping for you, when no one is watching, when the odds say you should quit. If you're here looking for a shortcut, close this right now. But if you're ready to build the mindset, the grit, and the focus it takes to win, then let's begin. Because the art of winning, it's not a mystery, it's a discipline. And I'm going to show you exactly how to master it. Let me know when you're ready for the first key section. Winning starts in the dark. Most people want to win when the lights are on, when the applause is loud, when the world is watching. But the truth, that's not where winning begins. That's just where it shows. The real winning, the kind that lasts, starts in the shadows. It starts in the silence. It starts in the dark. The dark is where there are no trophies, no followers, no validation. It's where your alarm rings at 5 a.m. and no one's there to pat you on the back for getting up. It's where you choose the grind over gossip, discipline over distraction, growth over comfort. The dark is the gym. No one sees the pages you read when everyone else is scrolling, the reps you do alone, the temptations you say no to because your vision is louder than your urges. Winners are not made on the podium. They're made in obscurity. In the quiet hours when no one is watching, judging, or even caring. That's the hard part. You see, discipline isn't sexy. It's not viral. It's not shareable. It's boring. It's repetitive. But it is non-negotiable if you want to win. Because here's the truth that stings. If you can't master yourself in private, you'll never dominate anything in public. People want to perform without practice. They want the rewards without the process. But winning requires that you become someone before the world even notices. You have to be ready before you're called. You have to be consistent before you're celebrated. The world gives you the opportunity after you've already earned it in the dark. Inner discipline is about doing what must be done, especially when you don't feel like it. It's showing up when you're tired, staying focused when you're tempted, staying committed when you're discouraged. It's holding the vision in your mind so clearly that no amount of noise can distract you. And there will be noise, distractions, opinions, doubts, setbacks. That's guaranteed. But inner discipline makes you immune to all that. Not because you're superhuman, but because you're trained. Understand this, your feelings are not facts. Just because you feel lazy doesn't mean you are. Just because you feel afraid doesn't mean you quit. Winners learn to act in spite of their emotions. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They make the moment right by showing up over and over until their actions become who they are. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't master your mornings, your habits, your mental discipline, you'll watch people with half your ability pass you by. Not because they're better, but because they're more consistent. That's the silent killer of dreams. Inconsistency. Doing the work for 1 week and then falling off. Starting strong but finishing nowhere. That's not winning, that's just wishing. You want to win? Then stop negotiating with yourself. Set the standard, make the rules for your life, and then follow them no matter what. Your word has to mean something to yourself. If you say you'll do it, do it. If you set a goal, honor it. If you plan a routine, live it. That's what creates the inner armor winners wear into the battlefield of life. Discipline builds confidence, not the fake kind that needs compliments to survive. The real kind, the kind that comes from doing the work no one sees. The kind that lets you walk into a room without saying a word and still command attention. Because when you've trained in the dark, you carry a power that others can feel, even if they don't understand it. The problem is, most people aren't willing to stay in the dark long enough They want instant results. Fast fame, easy praise, but success that comes easy leaves just as easily, and if your confidence is built on attention, the moment people stop clapping, you'll start crumbling. But if your strength was built in silence, you'll remain unshaken, no matter who's watching or who isn't. The dark is your training ground. It's where you separate yourself. It's where you build habits that hold you up when life tries to knock you down. It's where you sharpen your mindset, where you kill your excuses, where you test your hunger for what you claim you want. So let me ask you, what are you doing when nobody is looking? Are you scrolling or are you studying? Are you talking or are you building? Are you complaining or are you creating? Your answers to these questions determine your outcome. You can't fake it forever. Eventually, the truth shows, the results don't lie. Winners learn to love the dark because they know it's sacred. They know it's where they evolve. They know that by the time the light hits them, they'll be ready, not surprised. So if you're not where you want to be, stop looking for new tricks. Start developing old school discipline. Start falling in love with the boring work. Start becoming someone that even your future self would respect. Remember, the greatest victories are prepared in silence, and the only way to win out there is to win in here first. Let me know when you're ready for the next section. No one is coming to save you. Take radical ownership. No one is coming to save you. And the moment you fully accept that, not just understand it, but believe it deep in your bones, your life will change forever. We've been conditioned to wait. Wait for permission, wait for support, wait for motivation, wait for someone to notice our potential, to open the door, to give us a chance. But the reality is harsh. No one is obligated to save you. Not your family, not your boss, not your friends, not your mentors, not society, and certainly not your excuses. Waiting is a form of self-sabotage. It gives you an out. It allows you to blame everyone else when things go wrong. If only I had more help. If only someone believed in me. If only they gave me a shot. But what you don't realize is this. Every time you wait for someone else to take responsibility, you're giving away your power. You're handing your life to people who have no real investment in your growth. Winners don't wait. They act. They don't sit around hoping to be discovered. They build something that cannot be ignored. And how do they do that? They take radical ownership of everything in their life. Not partial, not conditional, radical. That means if you're not where you want to be, it's not because of the economy or your background or the people who wronged you. It's because you haven't taken full control. And listen, that might be hard to hear because yes, maybe you were dealt a tough hand. Maybe you started behind. Maybe you've been through hell. But winners don't let their past dictate their future. They use it as fuel. They use it as fire. Taking ownership is not about blaming yourself. It's about empowering yourself. It's realizing that you have the power to change. And as long as you blame something or someone else, you'll never tap into that power. You'll stay stuck waiting for a hero that's never coming. You know who your hero is? You, the version of you that decides enough is enough. The version that stops pointing fingers and starts building. The version that wakes up one day and says, no more excuses. I own my life now. Every piece of it. You see, radical ownership means you take control of the controllables. You can't control what happened to you, but you can control how you respond. You can control your attitude. You can control your actions. You can control your work ethic, your boundaries, your decisions, your words, your focus, and that control, that's your power. Winners don't ask, why is this happening to me? They ask, what can I do about this? They don't waste energy crying over closed doors. They build a new entrance. They don't sit around waiting for life to be fair. They get so good that fairness becomes irrelevant. They adapt, they evolve. They own every inch of their journey. When you live in ownership, something incredible happens. You start moving differently. You stop needing constant validation. You stop waiting for the green light. You stop needing someone to check on you because you're not driven by approval. You're driven by responsibility. You're not motivated by hype. You're motivated by mission. Ownership is freedom. Most people think it's a burden. You mean I have to take responsibility for everything? Yes, and that's what sets you free. Because when you realize that your life is in your hands, you stop depending on unpredictable people to shape your predictable future. You stop handing the pen of your story to people who don't even know how to hold it. You become the writer, the editor, the main character. But this level of ownership is rare. It's uncomfortable. It forces you to confront your laziness, your fears, your bad habits, your procrastination. And that's exactly why most people never do it. They'd rather live with the illusion that someone somewhere will come fix it all. But deep down, they know it's a lie. It's always been on them. The people who win in life aren't the ones with the best resources. They're the ones who maximize whatever they have. Maybe they didn't have money, so they used time. Maybe they didn't have support, so they built resilience. Maybe they didn't have connections, so they worked until people had no choice but to notice. That's ownership. That's refusing to be a victim of your circumstances and choosing to become a master of your outcome. Look around, winners are self-made. Not because they never had help, but because they never expected it. Help was a bonus, not a necessity. They helped themselves first, and that attracted the support. People want to help those who help themselves. But no one's lining up to invest in someone who keeps blaming, waiting, and doubting. So take inventory of your life right now. Where are you still hoping for rescue? Where are you still making excuses? Where are you avoiding accountability because it's more comfortable to stay in blame? Then make a decision. Decide to own it all, the wins, the losses, the lessons, the mess, the progress. Because that decision, that's your moment of power. That's the beginning of your rise. No one is coming to save you. And that's the best news you'll hear all day. Because it means you don't have to wait anymore. You're not dependent, you're not stuck. You are free to build, to rise, to lead, to win on your terms. Let me know when you're ready for the next section. Fail loud, fail proud, resilience is your weapon. Failure. Just the sound of that word makes most people shrink. They avoid it, hide from it, pretend they're too smart, too careful, too perfect to ever experience it. But if you want to win, really win, you have to change the way you see failure. You have to flip the script, because failure is not your enemy. It's your gym. It's your classroom. It's your greatest ally in disguise. The truth is, the people who rise the highest are not the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who run toward it, take the hit, and get back up with something new in their toolkit. They don't just fail, they fail loud. They fail proud. Not because they enjoy the pain, but because they understand what that pain produces. Resilience, depth, mastery, wisdom, strength. You want to know who loses? The person who fears failing so much, they never even start. The one who plays it safe, who stays in their little box of comfort, never testing their limits, never reaching beyond what they already know. They stay hidden, quiet, and careful. And do you know what that gets them? Regret. A slow, steady death of potential. Because trying and failing will always beat standing still. Resilience isn't built when everything is going your way. It's built in the crash, in the silence after the disappointment, in the long nights when everything feels like it's falling apart, but you refuse to quit. Resilience is forged when your back is against the wall, and you make the choice again to keep showing up. Not for applause, not for recognition, but because something inside you refuses to surrender. Most people think resilience is about toughness, but it's deeper than that. It's about adaptability. It's being able to take the hit, learn from it, and come back smarter. Not just harder. Resilience is when life says, you're done, and you respond, I'm just getting started. It's not just bouncing back, it's bouncing forward. And it's only built through experience, real, raw, humbling experiences. Look at anyone who's ever achieved greatness. You'll find a trail of failure behind them. Not one, not 2 dozens, rejections, losses, embarrassments, public setbacks, personal breakdowns. But instead of hiding those moments, they used them, they studied them, they grew from them, and that's why they succeeded, because each failure was a stepping stone, not a stop sign. You have to be willing to fall on your face, to get it wrong, to be laughed at, misunderstood, underestimated. You have to be okay with looking like a beginner. You have to earn your stripes. There's no shortcut to mastery, no back door to greatness. And every time you fail, you're gathering data. You're learning what doesn't work. You're sharpening your edge. You're building mental calluses. But here's the key. Don't fail quietly. Don't pretend everything's perfect when it's not. Don't cover up the losses. Own them. Let them teach you. Let them refine you. Because the more comfortable you get with failing, the more unstoppable you become. Not reckless, not careless, but fearless. You stop walking on eggshells. You start taking bold steps. You give yourself permission to be human, to grow, to evolve. Failure humbles you, and humility is power. It strips away ego. It forces you to listen, to observe, to adjust. And it's in that adjustment, that pivot, that the magic happens. Winners aren't stubborn, they're fluid. They know how to reinvent, how to rebuild, how to rise from the ashes stronger than before. When you fail, you get to choose. Does this define me or develop me? Will I let this make me bitter or better? Because failure only breaks people who refuse to learn. But for those who lean into it, it becomes the most powerful training tool they'll ever have. Most people are so afraid of failing in public, afraid of what others will think, afraid of looking like a joke. But here's the truth. People are too busy worrying about their own lives to care that much about yours. And the ones who do judge, they've probably never even dared to try. Never forget, critics are loud, but they're rarely courageous. So be proud of your failures. They mean you're in the game. They mean you're pushing. They mean you're evolving. Anyone can sit on the sidelines, but it takes courage to get knocked down and come back smarter, sharper, and more determined. And eventually, those failures become your advantage. They teach you things success never could. They give you layers, depth, perspective. They make you dangerous in the best possible way. If you're scared of failing, it means you care. But don't let that fear freeze you. Use it. Let it push you forward. Let it remind you that you're chasing something real, something worth risking for. Because playing small won't protect you. It'll just keep you from ever finding out what you're truly capable of. The greatest success stories didn't begin with talent. They began with a fall, a rejection letter, a bankruptcy, a betrayal, a mistake. And then came the moment, the decision not to quit, not to hide, but to rise louder, wiser, stronger. So go ahead, fail loud, fail proud. Let the world see you. Try, fall, and rise again. Because every time you do, you're building something unshakable. You're proving to yourself that no matter what life throws at you, you'll get back up. And in that getting up again and again, you become a force the world can't deny. Let me know when you're ready for the next section. Silence the noise, control your focus. We live in a world that's constantly screaming for your attention. Your phone buzzes, notifications light up, messages, headlines, updates, opinions. Everywhere you turn, there's noise, and most of it is meaningless. But it's designed to pull you in, to distract you, to hijack your focus. And if you let it, it will steal your potential right out from under you. The truth is, focus is your superpower, not talent, not looks, not even intelligence. Focus, the ability to block out the noise and lock in on what matters most. The ability to go deep when the world is trying to keep you shallow. In a society that rewards speed and reaction, your ability to slow down and focus is rare, and rare equals powerful. Winners don't just work hard. They work with clarity. They don't waste energy chasing everything. They choose a lane and they own it. They know what they're building and they aren't easily swayed. Because when you're focused, you become intentional. Your days become strategic. Your decisions become sharper. Your time becomes sacred. And that's when progress compounds. But most people, they're busy being busy. They're overwhelmed, overstimulated, pulled in 20 different directions. And they think that because they're always moving, they're making progress. They're not. They're spinning, running on a treadmill that goes nowhere. Because activity isn't productivity, and motion doesn't mean momentum. You can't master your life if you can't master your focus. You have to learn to silence the noise, externally and internally. That means setting boundaries that protect your mental space. That means turning off your phone when it's time to work. That means learning to say no without guilt to things and people that dilute your mission. Focus is about filtering. Not everything deserves your attention. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. And you need to be ruthless about protecting that access. Because every time you say yes to a distraction, you're saying no to your goals. Every time you let someone else's drama into your space, you're giving them energy that was meant for your future. Winners don't allow everyone a front row seat to their process. They protect their peace. They protect their energy. Because they understand that success is a mental game just as much as it's a physical one. And in that game, clarity beats chaos every single time. You don't need more time, you need more focus. You already have the hours, you're just not aiming them. Imagine what would happen if you took even 1 week to eliminate distractions. No scrolling, no gossip, no overthinking, just deep focused effort on your mission. You'd make more progress in that 1 week than most people do in a month. Because focus creates momentum, and momentum is how you win. But the noise isn't just outside, it's inside too. It's the voice in your head telling you you're not good enough. It's the mental clutter, the anxiety, the doubt, the overthinking. And if you don't learn how to quiet that voice, it will sabotage you every time. That's why focus isn't just about discipline, it's about self-awareness. You have to know what thoughts are serving you and what thoughts are sinking you. Meditation, journaling, stillness. These aren't luxury habits. They're survival tools for anyone who wants to lead, for anyone who wants to build. Because if your mind is a mess, your life will follow. So learn to sit with yourself. Learn to listen. Learn to slow down and reset. Because the sharper your mind, the stronger your execution. And don't think this is about perfection. You're going to get distracted. You're going to fall into the noise sometimes. That's okay. What matters is your ability to notice it and reclaim your focus. Winners don't stay off track for long. They catch themselves. They course correct. They've trained themselves to come back to center again and again. One of the most powerful things you can do is get clear on what you really want, and then protect that goal like your life depends on it, because it does. Your peace, your power, your purpose, they all depend on your ability to focus. When you know where you're going, it becomes easier to recognize what doesn't belong on the path. You have to treat your focus like your future is at stake, because it is. The world is full of talented people who never achieved anything meaningful because they couldn't focus. They let comparison rob them. They let distraction delay them. They let fear consume them. And years later, they're still wondering what could have been. Don't be that person. Choose depth over noise. Choose clarity over confusion. Choose mastery over mediocrity. Because the truth is, you don't rise by doing everything. You rise by doing the right things, again and again, without apology, without hesitation, and without needing the world's approval. Your ability to lock in, block out, and follow through, that's your edge. So if you're feeling lost or stuck or behind, don't look outside. Look within. Get still. Get honest. What are you giving your focus to? What's eating your time, your energy, your attention? And then do the hardest but most powerful thing. Cut the noise. Get clear, get quiet, get obsessed with the mission. Because when you control your focus, you control your future. Let me know when you're ready for the final expanded section. Stay dangerous. Confidence is earned, not given. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's not something someone hands you. It's not a personality trait or a social skill. It's a muscle, one that you build, rep by rep, decision by decision, failure by failure. And the people who carry real confidence, they earned it in silence, in sweat, in setbacks. They stayed dangerous while the world slept on them. You don't walk into a room confident just because you feel like it. You walk in confident because you trained for it. You prepared, you paid the price behind the scenes. And that preparation created presence. That consistency created certainty. Confidence is not a look, it's a knowing. It's knowing that even if things fall apart, you won't, because you've built something unshakable within yourself. You stay dangerous by staying ready, not paranoid, not insecure, but ready. Ready for the challenge, ready for the opportunity, ready for the pressure. Because real confidence doesn't come from hype. It comes from proof. It comes from all the times you didn't quit, all the times you showed up even when it was inconvenient, all the times you did the right thing even when no one was watching. Those are your receipts. That's what keeps your head high, not ego, but evidence. But too many people today chase the appearance of confidence instead of the roots of it. They want to look sharp, talk big, posture like they've got it all figured out. But deep down, they're fragile. One setback and they fold. One rejection and they retreat. That's not confidence, that's performance. And the performance always breaks when reality hits. The ones who win long-term don't just perform, they don't fake confidence. They earn it through discomfort, through discipline, through failure, through repetition. And because of that, they don't need the spotlight. They don't need the applause. They don't even need the recognition because they know who they are without it. That's what makes them dangerous. You become dangerous when you stop seeking validation and start becoming undeniable. When your actions speak so loud that no one can question your worth. When you walk into a room, not hoping to be seen, but knowing you belong because you've earned your place, that kind of quiet confidence shakes the room. Not because you're loud, but because your energy is loud. You don't have to say much when everything about you says, I'm built for this. But here's the part most people don't want to hear. Confidence doesn't come without discomfort. You can't build it by staying safe. You can't build it by always being the best in the room. You build it by putting yourself in rooms where you're challenged, where you're stretched, where you have to grow to keep up. Confidence comes from putting yourself in positions where you might fail, but going anyway. It comes from not avoiding discomfort, but leaning into it. Because every time you do, you're proving to yourself, I can handle this. And the more evidence you build, the more unstoppable you become. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. You don't need to be the smartest, fastest, or most talented. You just need to become solid. Someone who can't be easily shaken. Someone who's grounded. Someone who doesn't need to fake it. Because you've made it through enough that you trust yourself, even when no one else does. That's the foundation of confidence, self-trust. And self-trust is built when you stop breaking promises to yourself. Every time you say you're going to do something and don't, you chip away at your confidence. Every time you cut corners, procrastinate, or settle, you reinforce the belief that you can't count on you. But when you start showing up consistently, whether it's convenient or not, you start rebuilding that trust. And that's where confidence takes root. Confidence isn't about being fearless. It's about being bold in the presence of fear. It's about doing it scared, doing it unsure, but doing it anyway. Because the courage to act, even when it's uncomfortable, is what sharpens your edge. You stay dangerous when you stop running from fear and start using it as fuel. And remember, confidence doesn't come from comparison. It doesn't grow in the shadow of someone else's journey. It grows in your own lane. When you focus on becoming 1% better than you were yesterday, when you stop measuring yourself against the world and start measuring yourself against your potential, there will be times you doubt yourself, times you question if you're ready, if you're good enough, if you're worthy. That's normal. But confidence isn't about never having doubts. It's about not being ruled by them. It's the decision to believe in your preparation, not just your feelings. It's the decision to act even when your voice shakes, because every time you do, you're building your armor. Stay dangerous by staying disciplined. Stay dangerous by staying hungry. Stay dangerous by refusing to settle for average. Because the world is full of people who kind of want it. But the ones who win, they train for it. They don't need to talk about it. They show you through their actions, their habits, their presence. So stop looking for confidence. Start building it. Earn it in the silence. In the early mornings, in the hard days, in the lonely hours when no one is watching. That's where it's forged. That's where it becomes part of you. Because when you've built it yourself, no one can take it from you. And that's what makes you truly dangerous. Let me know when you're ready for the conclusion with a strong final message to close the 30-minute motivational speech. Here's the truth. Winning is not an accident. It's not a fluke, and it's definitely not reserved for the chosen few. Winning is a decision, a way of living, a mindset you wake up with every day, and a standard you refuse to lower, no matter how tired, discouraged, or overlooked you feel. You've now seen what it takes. The silent work in the dark, the courage to take full ownership, the resilience to fail forward, the discipline to guard your focus, the strength to build confidence that can't be shaken. None of it is easy. But that's exactly why most people don't do it, and that's exactly why you must. You weren't meant to live a life of settling. You weren't built to just exist, and coast through the days waiting for things to change. You were made to rise, to lead, to overcome, and to win, not just once, but over and over again, because you've trained yourself to do so. So stop waiting for the perfect conditions. They're not coming. Stop searching for shortcuts. They don't exist, and stop apologizing for wanting more. You're allowed to want greatness. You're allowed to be relentless. You're allowed to become so sharp, so focused, so unshakable that nothing can knock you off course. Winning doesn't respond to feelings. It responds to action. And the most powerful decision you can make right now is to begin. Wherever you are, with whatever you have, start. Start showing up like your future depends on it. Because it does. Stay dangerous. Stay disciplined. And never forget, the art of winning is not about beating the world. It's about mastering yourself. Now go make the world feel your presence. You've got work to do.